Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm starting a new series on ninth grade maths. So we're going to discuss everything that is there in our NCERT textbook, all the concepts, all the examples and all the exercise questions that are there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Now let's get started with the first chapter, which is number systems. The first chapter of your textbook is number systems, right? Now, what is number systems? It is one of the easiest and the most basic chapters of your textbook, right? So when you were younger, you would have heard of something called the number line, right? So the number line is basically a representation of the numbers that are there. It may be natural numbers, it may be integers, it may be real numbers, it may be whatever. So we'll discuss what all these things mean as we move forward. Okay. So first, what is an integer? An integer is the set of all numbers that are not fractions. They may be positive, negative or zero. So -5, -1, 0, 2, 3, all these are called integers. Now, what are whole numbers? Whole numbers are basically all the numbers, all the non-negative integers, that is 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Next, what are natural numbers? Natural numbers are basically all the numbers that are positive, or all the whole numbers that are positive, or all the integers that are positive. So you have 1, 2, 3 and so on, right? So these are your various number sets that you already know. Moving on, what are rational numbers? That would be our first topic today. So rational numbers are basically the numbers that can be represented in the form of p by q, right? So where p and q are integers. So now you may get the question that what if q is 0? If q is 0, the number will become undefined, right? So 3 divided by 0, you won't be able to do it. That is undefined. So that is the reason rational numbers are numbers that can be represented in the form of p by q, where q is not equal to 0, right? And p comma q are integers, right? This is the first concept or the first point that you need to understand about rational numbers. So any rational number can be represented in the form of p by q. Let's say you want to represent -1. How would you do that? It is basically -1 by 1. So p is -1 and q is 1, right? Similarly, if you want to do 5, 5 by 1, p and q. Of course, you have multiple forms, right? Here, even your 10 by 2 is 5. So, and where your p is 10 and q is 2. So whichever number can be represented in the form of p divided by q, where p and q are integers, those numbers are called rational numbers, right? So if one example you find, that's more than enough, right? Now, another example would be, let's say you want to represent 2 by 3. 2 by 3 is an indivisible fraction. This is its lowest form. So p is 2 and q is 3, right? So therefore it is also a rational number, right? Now, rational numbers or a set of rational or a whole set of rational numbers is represented by the letter q. This is one thing that you need to know. Okay. Now, moving on, let's go on and try to understand the first example that is given in our textbook, right? I hope you are going well. Do comment and let me know if you do not follow anything. Okay. So let's go and look at our example 1. So example 1 questions that which of the following statements are false? Give your reasons for your answer. First point, the first option or the first question that they're asking or the first statement that they have is every whole number Every whole number is a natural number. Now, is that true? It is not, right? So whole numbers also have, what are whole numbers? Whole numbers are numbers starting from 0, are integers that are not negative. So 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. What is a natural number? Natural number is a positive integer. So and so on. So 0 is not a natural number, right? Not natural. Therefore, every whole number is not a natural number because one of our whole numbers is not a natural number. Therefore, every whole number is not natural. Right? So that is the first point. Now, if we go to the second point, what is the second point? The second point says that every integer is a rational number. Is that true? Every integer is rational. Is that true? Yes, it is true. Because every integer, like for example, -1, we've already seen you can represent it as -1 by 1. So similarly, all integers can be represented in the form of p by q, where p can be the integer itself and q can be 1, right? So in this form, all your integers can be represented in the form of p by q. So they are all rational numbers. Now, moving on, the third one is every rational number is an integer. Is that true? Every rational number is integer. That is of course false, because why is that? That is because fractions that are no more divisible, that is, you cannot bring it to a simpler form, or the fractions that are already in their simplest forms like 2 by 3, they are not integers, they are just fractions. They can be represented in the form of p and q, making them rational, but they're not integers, so this statement is false, right? So that is the first example. I hope you understood this particular example. Now, moving on, let's go into example 2. Now, what is example 2 saying? Example 2 says that find 5 rational numbers between 1 and 2. So what are rational numbers? Rational numbers are any numbers that can be represented in the form of p by q. So you can take 3 by 2, 5 by 4, 6 by 5, 7 by 5 and so on, right? All these numbers lie between 1 and 2. So you can take it up that way. There's a remark here. Just notice that between 1 and 2, we've been asked to give 5 rational numbers. But if you can see, we can name infinitely many rational numbers like this, right? So that means that there are infinitely many rational numbers between any given 2 rational numbers. So even if they ask us between 3 by 2 and 5 by 4, we'll be able to give infinitely many rational numbers, right? So that is why, that is one point that you can remember. Okay. So this is the introduction part of your first chapter of your 9th grade CBSE textbook, NCERT textbook. In the next video, we'll look at the first exercise of this particular chapter, that is exercise 1.1. Stay tuned and we're going to have a lot of fun. Thank you for watching.